Huh? Oh, there it is.
Right now, I am out at Washington Park with Sine.
Hi.
And Max and Christian, my good old high school friends. Max and Sine are engaged, and I am taking photos for them. I have some updates as well. The first thing is that I am joining the Air Force. The other thing is that I am also engaged to someone who is also named Max. There's also a lot of information about that, and I don't have the energy right now, so I will just come back to that. There's a lot to cover, so I'm just gonna jump right in. Let me just first start with why the Air Force. I started learning a lot about it because my younger brother, Joe, is joining the Air Force. There's a lot of benefits to joining the military. I like the idea of structure, and it is all structure. Like, everything is set up for you. You have this path that you just follow, and then they take care of everything. Another thing about the Air Force is it's the only military branch with a school in it. Community college of the Air Force. Everybody's technical training and basic training counts towards college credits, and you could get an associate degree potentially, depending on how long your technical training is. And that's really cool. On a personal level, I wanted to do something more fulfilling and more meaningful. I wanted to really make a difference somewhere. I considered instructional design. I did some contracting work, helping to create online courses, and that felt good because I was doing something that would make somebody else's life better or teach them something. But I just wanted something more. And I'm young and I have a lot of opportunity in front of me, just all around. And this is really the time to maximize my potential. I really wanted to just squeeze all the essence out of myself, everything that I could possibly do. And it's kind of funny because before I decided to join the Air Force, I was actually telling myself when I graduated from college, I want to improve my skills and get good at things, and ultimately I wanted to become somebody that people would want with them during the apocalypse. I just want to be a useful human, and this is a really good way for me to do that, to become useful and to know things, know how to do things in a crisis, or or just, it's just furthering my education, and I'm excited about that. So I started thinking about it and considering joining, potentially. I knew it was an option. And the next thing is that because I have a degree, I was presented with the option to join as an officer. So I started learning about what that would entail and how I would go about commissioning. So what I did was I contacted a recruiter in my area, and for me, I ended up contacting the Fairfield recruiting office, and I learned about what the deal was with officer commissioning. What I learned is that there are, first of all, two kinds of officer positions, rated and non-rated. With rated, there's only 4 positions, and they're all related to aviation, pilot being one of them. The non-rated is everything else. And some of them have degree requirements. Only certain non-rated positions have degree requirements. And, but the rated, there's no requirement. I could have a film degree, and if I qualify, I could go be a pilot if I want. But the thing is, how it works is there's a selection board twice a year for each of the rated or non-rated. So 2 boards for rated, 2 boards for non-rated. Basically, what I would have to do is get with a recruiter, put together an application package to submit to a selection board, and wait for it to come around. Could be 3 to 6 months. And then after that, wait 3 to 6 more months to hear if they say yes or no. And so it's a long process. And on top of that, there are currently so many applicants trying to do this that they are not even entertaining new applicants until 2018. So it's March 2017 right now. So with all of that, we're looking close to like 2 years before I could maybe join if they said yes. I'm not trying to wait that long to start my life. There are people on wait lists for years trying to get in, and it's so saturated that you're competing against so many people. The other option is to enlist. If you enlist with a degree, you give your transcripts, then you can start off with an E3 pay grade as opposed to an E1. After 2 years of service, you can commission as an officer then. It's kind of the cool thing about if you're gonna go officer after being enlisted, from my understanding, is that you'll have gone through all the things that the people that you're gonna end up leading have already gone through. I would suggest just getting as much information from the source that you can. The internet is not always correct, and I mean, some of it's correct, but there's a lot that I have learned that was wrong. So that's what I learned from my recruiter, and I verified the information from other sources as well, but ultimately I decided I wanted to enlist. I took a pre-qualification test at the recruiting office. Gives you an idea of what you're going to score on the ASVAB, which is the actual qualifying test for the military. ASVAB stands for Armed Services Vocational Aptitude Battery. Once I decided I was going to enlist, my recruiter set me up with a date to go to the Sacramento MEPS, which is a military entrance processing station. I scored well on the pre-qualification test. I got an 84. If you score 72 or higher on the ASVAB, you pretty much qualify for most all the jobs. Since I scored well on the pre-qualification test, my recruiter was confident that I would pass the ASVAB. So I had a kind of special situation and I got same day processing. So I went to the MEPS and took the ASVAB and did all my medical processing and physical and everything in the same day. So that was a long day. I heard that people don't like going to the MEPS, and it makes sense. I drove out to Sacramento and checked into the hotel that they pay for, and they give me a roommate, somebody who's joining the Army. All the girls and guys are separated. I had to do a briefing in the evening, and there's probably like 80 people who are all going to the MEPS the next morning, and they're going into all the different branches. Many of them were planning to ship out to basic from the MEPS. We get up at 3 in the morning, go downstairs and have breakfast, and then everybody takes a bus to the MEPS. I drove myself, so and if you drive yourself, then it's nice because once you're done at the MEPS, you can just leave. They tell you how to behave and you call everybody sir and ma'am, yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. At MEPS you do a lot of waiting, sitting, you just go wherever people tell you to go, and you have to carry your documents everywhere, and you don't get to have a bag or anything with you. I was there from like probably 6 in the morning until 5 p.m. First, you do some medical briefing and fill out a medical history document and a lot of paperwork. And then I took the ASVAB, and that took me a few hours. After that, I did some medical processing. So I had to pee in front of a lady, and then they drew my blood. And then after that, I had an interview with a doctor about my medical documents and stuff like that. Also, they feed you lunch. After that, I did a physical examination and just kind of like a test to see if you can bend in certain ways. And you have to do all that in your underwear. And after that, they examine your whole body. It was actually really quick. With that, they told me, you qualify to join the Air Force. So, it was great. Just like something else. There's a lot of fingerprinting at the MEPS. They scan your fingerprint for tons of stuff. Before you swear in, you get all of your fingerprints scanned, and you fill out some documents, and you just tell them who gets your body if you die, and how are you going to divide the money that you would get for your life. All that good stuff. After that, I swore into the Delayed Entry Program, or the DEP, as they call it. You swear in the ceremony room, and it's the only room in there that is decorated. Everywhere else kind of just looks like an office, or a doctor's office, or offices. A lot of offices and chairs and sitting in. Once that was over, I received some job counseling, and I made my top 10 list of all the jobs that I would want, and then I could leave. I went back to the hotel and stayed another night. Not everybody does this, but I was going to take the DLAB the next day. DLAB stands for Defense Language Aptitude Battery. It's the test that qualifies you to become a linguist. The next day at the MEPS was much easier. I still had to get up at like 3 in the morning, but since I was just testing and I was already made it through the whole process, it all was so much easier. I took the DLAB, and I actually thought it was easier than the ASVAB, but I just have a high aptitude for languages. So some people have a really hard time with it. And with that, you need to have a 110 for the Air Force to pass, but I actually heard that they might have lowered the score to 100 to pass because there's a high demand for linguists. It's different for the different branches. I scored a 137 on the DLAB, which means that I passed. The highest possible score anybody could ever get on that is 176, and nobody really gets that. Once I got my score, I went back into the Air Force liaison office. You go there a lot. They switched out my top 10 list for jobs because now I qualify for this other job, so I could add it in, where before I couldn't because I didn't have the test yet. And after that, I was able to leave, so it was much quicker on the second day. So now I am just in the delayed entry program, and I am waiting for a contract to come in and for my recruiter to grab it. And the contract will tell me my ship date to go to basic. I go to basic training in San Antonio, Texas at Lackland Air Force Base, and then I'll go to my technical training which depends on the job that you get. And the length of your tech school and where it is depends on the job that you get. The contracts are either 4 years or 6 years, and that also just depends on the job. But there are over 200 jobs you could do in the Air Force, and a lot of them transfer over to the civilian world. It just depends. Pretty much everything depends. And there's a whole lot more information that I haven't covered, but the best way to get more information is just to talk to a recruiter, and that's their whole job. And so that's what's going on. If anybody has any questions about my experience that I haven't talked about, just ask. I'd be happy to answer. So I'm really excited. I'm probably going to go to basic sometime in the summer. I'm aiming for June. We'll see. That's all for now. Hope that you guys are having a good day, and I will talk to you later. All right, bye.